Hi everyone, Miss Andronica is here, and today we are looking at gradients. So, a gradient of a straight line is a measure of how steep the line is. So, a line can have a positive, negative, or zero gradient. The way you can remember this is if you are looking at the gradient from left to right. If that is going upwards, if that mimics, for example, the money in your bank account, and your graph of money in your bank account looks like that, especially if we have like the Cartesian plane there, then we'd be happy. Therefore, that's a good thing. It's positive. If that was, let's say, the graph of the money in your bank account, it's from left to right going downwards, then that's a bad thing. That would be negative. Here, there's no change. It's not going up, it's not going downwards. There's zero gradient. That's one way to remember it. To calculate the gradient, you can use the saying rise over run. It's a little bit easier to remember instead of gradient equals vertical distance over horizontal distance. Vertical, rise, horizontal, run. Just another way to remember it. So a positive line is a positive gradient, a negative line is a negative gradient. So when we consider the vertical distance, we need to consider like a right angle triangle. So on a Cartesian plane, if we go straight down and we run straight across, that would meet at a right angle. So it's the distance that it goes straight down between 2 points on the line and the distance it runs across. Okay, so that distance would be the rise and the run. Let me go through this in an example. So here, I'm going to look at 2 points on the line. It doesn't have to be at point A and point C that are indicated. I could use any 2 points that I can see perfectly fall on a coordinate of X and Y. So I'm not going to choose a point that falls in between coordinates because then we won't be accurate. So I could choose that point and that point, for example. It doesn't matter which, and I'll prove that to you in a moment. So I know gradient equals rise over run, or the vertical over the horizontal. So if I choose A and C to start with, then I need to know how many jumps I've got to go downwards. So that's my rise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so the rise is 9 and the run is 1, 2, 3. And the run is 3. That equals 9 over 3. Well, 9 divided by 3 is just 3. So my gradient for this line will equal 3. If I chose these other 2 points, I can see that I can still use rise over run because it's 1, 2, 3 over 1. So I could have had 3 over 1, which still equals 3. So as you can see, if you choose any points that have coordinates that are clear, so 2 and 1, for example, with your X and your Y, or you could choose these points, they have to hit the X and the Y coordinates perfectly. Any 2 points on the line will always give you the gradient. This is a positive gradient because I can see this is a positive line. So that's why the answer is 3. Let's have a look at this line. Straight away I can see it's a negative line. So I need to remember that the gradient has to be negative. Now, again, I'm going to choose 2 points that intersect the coordinates perfectly. So I can see there's a point there, and I keep going until I find another point there. So I'm going to choose those 2 points. So rise over run. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2. Over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And I need to not forget it's a negative line, negative gradient. So you have to put the negative in front of it. So the gradient in this example is -2. Negative line, negative gradient. I still use that triangle, that right angle triangle idea between two coordinates that hit the x and the y axis perfectly. Any two coordinates on that line. Okay, give it a go. Thanks, guys.